And so they say, well, the Second Amendment is just for the militia, right? What part? You're not in the militia. This is an argument that they use. Again, it's a really lazy argument. Yeah. Let me read you the Second Amendment for people who haven't read it. It's a short read. I recommend it. It says a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So it doesn't say the right of the militia to keep and bear arms. It says a well-regulated militia, meaning the country needs a militia. Then there are two commas between that and then the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Why is it written that way? It's very clear. Well, let's look to the supporting documents. George Mason once said, I ask, sir, what is the militia? It is the whole people, except for a few public officials, which I love that he decided to highlight that. So what is a militia? The militia is you. And that doesn't mean that you have to join a militia in the woods. What it means is you have a country very, very different from other countries, too. That's why I like to compare within states, because we shouldn't compare us to Canada.
No.
Why? Because they suck. Also, they bent over for the royalty. They still have the queen on their money.
Yeah.
We fought a bloody war for our freedom. Some other historical context, just so you know. If George Washington was the kind of shitty politician like Senator Murphy, right, who just wanted to, I don't know, as Steve Kerr might say, maintain his grip of power. Keep in mind, George Washington is one of the only few people throughout history who was one of, if not the most powerful man in the New World, in the whole world, but certainly the New World. People were begging for him to stay, and he left. And he said, because I'm not immune to power corrupting. That's a big deal. Not many people do that. He also fought other militias. A lot of people don't realize this. You think there's the War of Independence, and then you think there's a Civil War. No, there were wars being fought here in the United States because there were some people who, I know as crazy as this may sound, wanted to be loyal to the crown.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of factions. George Washington had to fight them. The easiest thing he could have done would have been strip them of the right to own firearms. Oh my gosh, I'm running into these militias who disagree with us. But he understood it was so important that he still affirmed it repeatedly, because he understood that that is what was necessary to keep the kind of government that they just fled in check. And he also recognized that he could be that kind of a government, that he could be that kind of, and at that point, really, government. We didn't have exactly what we have right now. This man was powerful. This man could have been a king, and he recognized, ooh, that's bad. One of the fail-safes here is the people to have guns. They need to be their own militia.
Yeah, this is the only way you secure freedom. What is it saying there? Being necessary to secure, or for the security of a free state?
Yep.
Right? Free security. See those things tied together? The only way free stays is if you have security. And the only way you get security is if you have the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah.
It's very, very clear. Look at countries throughout history. We don't have to go to Germany. We can go to Australia. Last year, they're building camps. They did mandatory buybacks of firearms forever, right? How do you defend yourself against a tyrannical government? How do you defend yourself against a tyrannical individual in your community if you have no right to keep and bear arms? But that person can go out and get whatever they want.
Right.
Right? They're not going to obey the laws anyway. And if you're like, oh, if the entire United States just had the law, fine, fantastic. How close was this to the border? How many guns are coming over that border illegally right now? You telling me you couldn't get one if you really wanted one? The argument doesn't really hold up.
These are the same people who require you to get a negative COVID test or quarantine if you're coming back into your own country for, I think it's 10 days, but you have hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants who just right on through, sir.
Yes, right here. Please go this way.
Well,
make sure you come back to your court date in 7 years.
I like your gun.
Yes.
I like the cut of that AR-15.
I like the ivory grips and the god-awful, gaudy flames etched into it.
I like the blood on the machete.
Yes.
You must be, what do they call it? Cartel? Am I pronouncing that right? I don't want to offend.
Yes.
Have you seen our wonderful EVT cards? We have a fantastic selection.
Yeah.
Yes, please take one. Take two.
Yes.
We don't care.
We've been playing around with screen prints. Look, this EBT card has Dora the Explorer. Are you familiar? Probably not, but you know what? Take that. That's for you.
Yeah. So let's just let's just tie a bow on this. So, Second Amendment makes sure that the other rights exist.
Yeah, right? Scale back even Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah,
scale back that they need guns. We're literally let's put a finer point on this. Your money, billions, 40 billion was just the last round. I can't even keep a tally of the total amount of billions that have gone to Ukraine. Billions of your dollars are right now going to paying for guns for people in the Ukraine so they can be a well-regulated militia which you were insured as your own right at the founding of this country, and they want to strip from you. Your money is going to Ukraine to pay for their guns. Well, they want to take yours. Does that drive it home? You don't even need to look through history. You look at it now for crying. And then let's scale it back. Okay, not Ukraine, not just China, not people being run over with tanks, not genocide being committed. Think a few Uyghurs would like to have a couple of AR-15s. Yep. Don't want to speak for them. But scale it back. Speech laws. You can be arrested in Australia, in Canada, in the UK for speech. I'm not saying that all free speech here is defended with firearms, but it's certainly in the back of people's minds. It's certainly in the back of, if you have corrupt police officers' minds who would want to go door to door arresting you for things that you say, which, by the way, has happened throughout human history and still happens today. Hey, remember this? This is the problem with the affront that the left, they just think that they win by being offended. Remember yesterday?
Yes, that's a good point.
Remember yesterday when I said there are more slaves than ever in recorded history right now, 40 million today?
Yeah.
And I said, now the problem is, the reason we can't talk about it is because these slaves primarily exist in 3 places, right? Africa, Asia, the Middle East.
Yeah.
Said, now, it's really hard to bitch about white privilege when you actually acknowledge the slavery that is currently taking place in these. Can I say shithole countries about the countries that employ slavery? And I said, I bet you liberals are going to be more offended that I referred to these countries that enslave people as shitholes than they will be at the enslavement. Guess what Media Matters had?
Oh, I wonder.
Stephen goes on an offensive rant about shithole countries. Yeah, you know what? Hold on a second. I know you're expecting me to apologize. I think if your country still practices slavery, you're a shithole.
Ridiculous.
Also, if you think one sentence is a rant, you too are a shithole.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were saying you too is a shithole, because that is.
And if you are the band, you too.
That is